If you have to choose an architecture, the greatest mystery of man, probably the pyramid, will be a very good candidate. Along with the Sphinx mummy, the Great Pyramids of the Egyptians, it's a favorite theme of the movies, adventure stories and horror stories. Pyramid recorded raw. It was determined that at least 12,000 years ago, there were no ancient Egyptians. And most likely, it's the work of a prehistoric civilization existed before. So far, there has been no official response. Exactly what for the mysteries of the pyramids? It's not by chance that the seven wonders of the old world. The Great Pyramid says Ra stands at the highest position. It's the last remaining wonder to this day. In the usual sense, the ancient Egyptians built the pyramids at Giza, about 2500 BC, but this argument reveals a few loopholes. First, according to scientists, the Egyptians had to use about 4 million blocks of stone, average weight from 2 to 4 t. Even some stones weigh up to 15 t. In the vast sea of sand, how did the ancient Egyptians can transport the stone blocks to build these giant pyramids? Many different theories and speculations have been to explain this mystery. But from the perspective of architecture and construction, these methods are not very convincing. The second set of pyramids says Ra. It's also designed and built differently. They have absolutely no internal framework, that the rocks themselves are precisely measured. That gave stability and sustainability to the pyramid. These pyramids, there are no religious symbols or the hieroglyphs inside. Paper on doubt or it wasn't built by the ancient Egyptians, who always carved the letters in the catacombs. More, at first glance, people think that the pyramid has 4 sides, but it actually has 8 sides. The pyramid causes from bottom to top all have a receding curve of about 0.5 to a degree. It causes the surface to split, forming a special pyramid surface with 8 unusual sides. It's a technique that we can't do. At the current level of science and technology, the location of the pyramid complex, writing out is very special. It's exactly at the intersection of the meridians and the longest line in the world. This means that pyramid recorded Ra. It is located at the center of 6 places on Earth. The largest pyramid is Khufu, Khafre, and Menkaure. Not just in line, absolutely together on the ground, but they're aligned with the A-star Cell lumbar region of constellation Sao household. Astronomers have also shown that pyramid ensemble. It says Ra is facing the North Pole of the Earth. So far, even though it was built thousands of years ago, but this is construction the most northerly direction in the world. The question is, ancient humans over 2,000 years ago, do so can get positioning qualification, and that's exactly how important it is. New theory. To account for the unusual characteristics mentioned above, Cannon and Maycomb Hutton made a different point. With the age of the pyramid inscribed Ra, the same evidence that supports his theory. He said that the Great Sphinx of Giza, placed in front of the pyramids, must be carved from a natural rock before sand covers the area. In an interview with Express UK, Cannon said, "The Sphinx has to be carved when there's no sand there. You can't carve a rock when it's under the sand." The time to meet the criteria. This is about 12,000 years ago. The ancient Egyptians weren't there. On the other hand, archaeologists have discovered sediment up to 4.3 meters thick around the base of the pyramid. Contains many fossil shells. It's almost 11,600 years old. What this implies is that the pyramids and the sphinxes, it must have been built at least 12,000 years ago. It may have been there before the start of the Ice Age. According to Professor Cannon, significant difference in this time. It also means the giant tombs. It wasn't built by the ancient Egyptians. Need to add that, according to the history of world civilization, it was discovered that, when bringing the money, it's rusted inside the pyramid. After more than a month, the coins are shining again. They also put a glass of milk in the pyramid. After a month, still no change in color taste. Bring fresh flowers so that half a month is still fresh. It's not dehydrated or withered. So it's very likely that the ancient Egyptians merely discovered the ability to preserve of this work. So he brought the mummies in. They then find out, research and build some smaller versions. And an interesting thing to mention is that archaeology discovered a lot of remains of the giant race. It's 12,000 years old. Same time, it is believed that the Great Pyramid was built all over the world. Their height, while alive, was determined to be about 410 to 2 meters. At this height, the construction of the Great Pyramids, it just seems like a human. We are today, high-rise building. About this issue, two historians believe that these giant structures may have been built a long time ago by an advanced ancient civilization. It exists somewhere in the region, maybe Atlantis, that were eventually destroyed by the deluge. Cannon said, "I've done some research and discovered the connection between the pyramid to a submerged site. It could be Atlantis. When Atlantis sank, they evacuated everywhere. Maybe an Egyptian group, and of course, they're fully qualified and technologically capable to build the pyramids. As we have seen, no one else can do this. It requires very high technology. A smaller pyramid at the record rock. It could have been built by the Egyptians because they can be built by humans. However, the claim that the largest pyramid, with 2,000,000 to 150,000 stones, some of which weigh up to 250 tons, built by the Egyptians is completely illogical. We can't even move them with all the equipment that we have today. That's why civilization we're talking about, even at a much higher level, compared to us now. The existence of advanced civilizations. The existence of other advanced civilizations before civilization, this time ours, it's not entirely hypothetical. The judges, she's discovered a lot of strange sites and artifacts. Proof of this point, such as in June 968, William Master Collector in Antelope Spring, Utah, United States, found a rock 5 centimeters thick. There's a fossil of a human footprint on it. There's another very special trace. Fossil of a beetle stepped on by shoes. And that's very puzzling to the scientist, because lobes are creatures disappeared at the end of the century, Permian about 250 million ago. How can a human step on a living being? Disappeared hundreds of millions of years ago, especially those who wear shoes. It's a clear sign of civilization. Fossil of shoe spears, it's hundreds of millions of years old. Why is all of this true? According to popular knowledge, Galileo Galilei, who invented the telescope in 1609 in Italy. But a stone that's 30,000 years old, found in Peru. It's carved with modern costumes. On the handle of a telescope are looking at the Sau constellation, planet, and Sau broom. Some stones, the stones also depict scenes like organ transplant and caesarean section today. This, if you look at the theory of evolution, it really can't be explained. In another impressive example, in the year 1972, a French factory imported uranium from snails. Republic of Gabon, Africa, to their surprise, engineers have discovered that uranium has been used and went to the scene to investigate. The result of the discovery is the site of the ore sample is a nuclear-sized reactor. It started 1.8 billion years ago. It's been in operation for almost 500,000 years. Structure of the modern furnace. The layout is so rational that people today cannot create. There are a lot of things that are hard to explain, scattered all over the world. Many brave scientists have admitted that there are different prehistoric civilizations ever existed and disappeared many times in long history. Finally, the truth about our origins. It seems completely different with what's normally explained by the way of textbooks. that we're modern civilized humans, the only one ever on this planet, and we've evolved from apes. Only AIs dare to overcome cognitive bias, receive and consider rationally. Archaeological discoveries and achievements can realize the real truth. Born in Egypt, around 1300 to 4 BC, with the name Tutankhaten, it means the living image of Aten. This king ruled Egypt as a pharaoh, under the name Tutankhamen, for 15 years until he died at the age of 19, around 1302 BC. In the world of science in general and archaeology in particular, the figure of King Tutankhamen is a classic mystery. There is no solution. So I want to be who? The mystery of his life until his death. It's been buried for thousands of years. Continue to be brought to light. Genetic testing has confirmed King Tutankhamen was the grandson of the great pharaoh, Amenhotep BA, and almost certainly the son of Akhenaten, also known as Amenhotep IV, a controversial figure in history, 18th dynasty, the new kingdom in Egypt, about 1550 to 1200 905 BC. His mother is said to be one of his sisters, Akhenates. At the time he was born, ancient Egypt is experiencing great upheaval about society and politics. Tutankhaten's father banned the worship of many gods. We only support the worship of God. Aten, for this reason, he is called the heretic king. When the people were forced to honor the Aten, sudden religious conversion has thrown society into chaos. The capital was changed from Thebes to Amarna, and Akhenaten, devoted to the process of religious conversion, neglect of domestic and foreign affairs. As the power struggle between old and new intensifies, Akhenaten becomes more autocratic, and his regime is becoming increasingly corrupt. After 17 years of rule, he left. Some scholars claim that he was forced to abdicate and died soon after. Tutankhamen was 9 years old, took over my throne. That same year, he married Akhenaten. Stepsister with stepfather, she was the daughter of Akhenaten and Queen Nefertiti. According to reports, the young couple has 2 daughters. Unfortunately, they all died in the womb, because he was in power when he was too young. So in the first few years, his reign was ruled by an elder. It's called Ai, who bears the title of vizier. Ai, powered by Horemheb, Egypt's top military commander at the time. They both reversed the edict, Aten and Akhenaten, to support multi-faith, traditional God. King Tutankhamen asked the royal family to move to Thebes, at the same time seeking to restore the old order. I hope that the gods once again will give preference to Egypt. He ordered the repair of the holy places, continue to build at the temple, red granite lions at Solon, also supervised by you. While foreign policy is neglected during the reign of the father Akhenaten, Pharaoh Tutankhamen sought to recover and succeed. After dying Tutankhamen was mummified, according to the religious traditions of Egypt, because they think the royal body should be preserved to bring to the world beyond. There are many theories about who killed the pharaoh, this great. He is tall but physically weak, with a bone paralysis in the left foot. There is an opinion that the reason is because of King Tutankhamen as the child of inbreeding. In the royal family, the Egyptians, research DNA was published in the year 2, not 10. Tutankhamen's parents were brothers and sisters. In addition to the 2 bones of Tutankhamen, to reveal a hole in the back of the skull. Some historians have concluded that the young king was assassinated, but recent tests have refuted the hypothesis. That hole, it's actually created in the process of mummification. A picture taken city year 1995 longer. The king broke his left leg due to infection, while DNA from his mummy reveals multiple evidence about malaria. It can all be the cause of Pink's early death. Then, many archaeologists continue to search for answers. The death of Khamun. That's how the story unfolds about the curse of the pharaohs. Some analysts claim that the hieroglyphs on the walls of the tomb promises a painful death for the disturbing AI, King Tutankhamun. As noted, more than 10 people on the expedition were killed. Unknown cause. Most people think it's the curse. Tutankhamun. Early 1900 to BA, the British archaeologist Howard Carter, with fellow plutocrats Jack Herbert and Lord Carnarvon, he opened the tomb of Pharaoh Tutankhamun in the Valley of the Kings. 2 months later, Carnarvon died of blood poisoning from a mosquito bite on his cheek. The press believed that he was a victim of that mysterious curse. Some experts give an explanation. Science says that the death of Carnarvon, it could be related to the poison inside the Tutankhamun accordingly. Ancient marinades have been shown to carry various dangerous hidden injections next to it. The tomb walls may have been covered because bacteria can attack the respiratory system. However, experts have rejected this theory. They think Carnarvon was chronically ill before he set foot near the grave of the prisoner after 10 years. Unusual departure. 10 people in the expedition. It's still a mystery. In addition to medical journals, I did a study in 2002. I realized something strange. The curse supposedly did not affect the Egyptian electric table. This has not been proven so far in a very clear way. On my archaeological trip, World Carter Lake, I also found 2 daggers that were carefully wrapped inside the bandages of Tutankhamun's mummy. A dagger with a golden tongue, while the Kia has an iron tongue. Each dagger has a gold case. Of 2 types of knives, iron has been more valuable so far, because during the lifetime of the mummy, iron is a rare and precious metal. As the name implies, iron from the sky of Egypt. It's mostly from asteroids. Some other iron objects. It was also found in the tomb of Tutankhamun, including 16 small blades, a small headrest, and a talisman. The fact that these pieces of metal are not carefully crafted, combined with their small size, the experts confirm these items are made by craftsmen, local public. However, this second dagger is very special. It's a very intricately crafted product. It is said that this is an item from another land. It's not an Egyptian product. The royal documents also state that the knife was a gift from the king of his own country. It was given before Tutankhamun was born. It's placed in a prominent position. Someone should think this knife has even been used in mummification ceremony of Tutankhamun. Then, when researchers in front of gold burial masks voted, Tutankhamun found that this is a young man with the ideal characteristics: strong jaw, plump lips, cheekbones, tall and regal eyebrows. According to the Daily Mail, thanks to the BAD image, the truth has finally been unraveled. The body of King Tutankhamun went through a virtual autopsy with city capture technology, genetic analysis, and more than 2,000 digital scans. Scientists spend a lot of time reconstructing your face to contrast with the hypothesis he was injured in a car accident, killed or murdered. New research has shown that King Tutankhamun was born with deformities, but physically, you can't participate in chariot racing at all. Scientists have revealed that Pharaoh Tutankhamun was a sick man. The side is crooked and deformed. He also has epilepsy, malaria, and walking with a cane because of a broken leg. And Tutankhamun, you can't stand in a box. The car is moving fast. The reason is still attributed to inbreeding of his parents. King Tutankhamun's tomb is located in the Valley of the Kings. It is believed that his early death needed to be buried. Hurry up and move. His body had to be placed in a small-scale grave. Very likely, this is a tomb built for a lower noble. 70 days after his death, Tutankhamun's body is laid to rest. The tomb was sealed. There is no known record of Tutankhamun. Then so, he's been virtually unknown for centuries. Even the location of the tomb is lost. Until the year 1922, when the British archaeologist Howard Carter found the tomb. It's been sealed for over 3,200 years. The enormous treasure trove of inscriptions and to bring the king to the world beyond has revealed an astonishing amount about royal life in ancient Egypt. This quickly turned King Tutankhamun into a king, the most famous pharaoh in the world. Artifacts from the tomb of King Tut I went to visit around the world in some programs, blockbuster museum, including the exhibition of King Tutankhamun's treasure, all over the world, from the year 1972 to the year 1979. Today, the mummy of Tutankhamun, displayed in the long tomb in the valley, kings in the chamber CAV62. The coffins, many of his layers have been with a special glass case. Even though it's been thousands of years, the mystery of King Tutankhamun, it's still a question that needs to be solved. If you say that AI eventually built the pyramid, it makes me so confused. The scientific and technical knowledge that it contains. You are so amazing that I admire you even more. But to reach and explore the pyramid, it's not that simple. There's a lot of scientists out there who are curious. People who intend to peek at treasures or dig graves have violated the hidden taboos of the pharaohs to the point of dying. The pyramids of Egypt. This is the tomb of the ancient Egyptians. They built it for themselves. The pyramid is considered one of the seven of the ancient world. Most of the great and small pyramids of Egypt, they were all built in the Third Age, to the sixth king of Egypt. These majestic and beautiful architectural works has undergone over 4,000 years of transformation and fall over time. It is mainly distributed around the Cairo area, the region of Ra on the west bank of the Nile. So far, it has stood proudly with heaven and earth, attract visitors from 5 continents for seas. The pyramid, through the years of 4,000-year history, still shrouded in a veil of mystery, full of mystical nuances, in which the incantations on the tombstones, it's what scares people the most. Anyone who comes to disturb the peace of Pharaoh, the door of death will fall on his head. The magic words are like a myth. He warned the greedy in the next life. I want to see the priceless treasures in the grave, in case of grave theft. But strangely enough, for centuries, those who dare to enter the tomb of Pharaoh, even a grave thief, adventurers or scientists, the survey staff, they finally fulfilled the spell. If they don't have to die on the spot, it's also a strange disease. There's no cure, and died in agony. In November 1922, the famous British archaeologist Defy Carter, after 7 years of searching, he discovered and opened the tomb of Pharaoh. This tomb is located in the Valley of the Kings, from which he unearthed more than 5,000 artifacts, including jewels and jewels, clothes, weapons, technology products, home tools, and so on. That success shocked the world. 18 years later on the job, excavation is in front of a new victor, Prince Canafan, who invested a lot of money to help Carter carry out the work. Go into the tomb. He became seriously ill and died. His sister in her memoir wrote that before he died, he had a fever and was always screaming. I heard his breathing. I have to go with him. Another thing, not long ago, when an archaeologist, while excavating, full of stones on the way to the grave, he also died of a strange disease, like a nervous disorder or Douglas is the radiologist for the mummy of Pharaoh. Not long after, it also became a sacrifice for Pharaoh's tomb. He became more and more frail and died. 2 years after excavating that tomb, there were 22 people on the excavation team. He died mysteriously, unknown cause. From there comes the news of the pharaoh's death. Land widely transmitted everywhere. The spell on tombstones make people more confused and afraid. Year 1924, an Egyptian biologist of British nationality, Mr. White, takes some curious people to the tomb. What makes people afraid is after returning from sightseeing, he hanged himself. Before death, he bit his finger and wrote a letter to say that his death, it was created by the spell of Pharaoh's tomb. You yourself are very sorry, so you have to embrace that regret and go to God. What makes people even more amazing and more difficult to understand is the death of the director of the Cairo Museum, Mr. Kamen Michael Ryder. Used to be, Kamen didn't believe the spell of the pharaoh's tomb can be experienced again, he confidently declared. I've been in contact with the body for years, Egyptian mummies and tombs. Am I still living a healthy life? After that, less than for weeks, he suddenly became ill and died. He was not yet 52 years old. People have even discovered that the same day he died, You're Healthy still commands a team of workers packing a batch of precious artifacts. That batch of artifacts excavated and collected from the tomb of Pharaoh Tutankhamun. All of this makes the legend of Pharaoh more and more covered in a mysterious black veil. The treasures in the grave also makes people afraid, but many people want to try it. Was that the purpose of Pharaoh's life? It was then that people suddenly asked. People associated with the pyramids of Egyptian pharaohs died for whatever reason. The incantations on Pharaoh's tombstone, is it really that effective? Or one view that on the walls of the passageways in the catacombs, as a layer of pastel pink and yellow 6 grade, it's likely that the class that gives birth to light dies. They say it releases deadly substances. There are other scientists who have the view that civilization of the ancient Egyptians has reached the level they can use insects that have very strong venom or extremely toxic weapons to protect the ruler's tomb, avoid being violated by others. In recent years, when some scientists came up with the idea, use biology to explain, Easter Din Hao, PhD in biology, professor of medicine at Cairo University, 96BA say that, based on the results that he periodically conduct experiments for the archaeologists and the staff, found on all those who went into the tomb, there is a pathogen in the body and high fever. And because of the poisoning, these people will have respiratory infections, and then eventually it leads to choking and death. But because of why these toxic pathogens can live and so intense in grave, because Sao can live up to 4,000 years in mummies, to the scientists, I can't explain it either. Until the year 198BA, a French female doctor named Defy Hero. After years of research, we've come to the conclusion that the cause of death was a hypersensitive reaction for the harmful bacteria of the excavators, and people visiting the catacombs, according to the pathological was discovered by these people. BA explained that after the ancient Egyptian pharaohs died, people buried under the gold and silver jewels and clothes. There's also a lot of vegetables and food. Those vegetables and that food, over a long period of hundreds of thousand years of decay, that gave birth to toxic bacteria that the naked eye can't see. Those bacteria are in the catacombs. It doesn't matter who's breathing in those toxins. The lungs will become acutely ill. Dominican professor in Istanbul, for drifting into the grave, has just been excavated to stamp the inscription. It's full of toxic bacteria. They were infected and died. So far, the doctor's explanation considered the most reasonable. But the spales on Pharaoh's tombstones, what is it like? This is still waiting for research. A closer look at the scientists. Even recently, scientists have also discovered problems related to the so-called energy tower. I don't know how bad that is. We can't predict. Some other scientists have hypothesized that it's called the Pharaoh's spell. It's probably coming from the structure of the pyramid itself. The structural design of the tomb as well as the passage it can be born to collect and emit radiation, magnetic vibrations and energy waves, or form a physical field of some kind. That is, the miraculous pyramid that we showed you above is being promoted. So, what's right is wrong. Everyone has their own interpretation, but want to open the secret of the spell. It doesn't seem simple, at least until now. Humans have spent a lot of paper when it comes to the Great Pyramid, right ancient Ra, where there are many undeciphered secrets located in the land of Egypt. To this day, after a night in the king's room, it's inside the pyramid. Even a brave general like Napoleon also becomes 7 gods and panic. This story really piqued the curiosity and into the hands of scientists. What happened that night, after all? Please continue to watch the following video. Let's go back to 1798. When Egypt was still your colony, Napoleon has sent the expeditionary force to this mysterious country into Eastern Africa. Like many other places, he was fascinated by the secret of the pharaohs in the pyramid, as well as the rich history of this country. Who's curious about the mystery here? Even before that, this great king founded the Academy of Egyptian Studies with many academic researchers to combine remote and archaeological research. On this trip, Napoleon decided to do some research. He brought along the surveyor technicians, the astronomer, and also archaeologists. Let's explore the secrets of the pyramid, one of the great works of humanity. The research team has surveyed the pyramid in accordance with the orders of King Napoleon and obtained some publications. The most special is Rosetta Stone, found out in 1799. This is the great discovery. Help the archaeologists for the first time to decipher the visual language, the writing of the ancient Egyptians. More on coming to Egypt. I want to experience the mystery in the areas inside the pyramid. Napoleon, he asked to be alone in the king's room, where you've often heard about. We decided to spend the night here. But the next morning, when I walked out of the room, the face of Emperor Napoleon slipped. It's very strange and scary. Maybe you saw a real scene. Horror in the grave. The assistant anxiously asked the king, but Napoleon refused to comment on what happened and said that from now on no one to mention that too. Years after Napoleon was dying, a close friend asked him what was the experience inside the king's chamber. Napoleon tried to say raw, but eventually changed his mind. He just shook his head and said, "It's no use, you'll never believe me." That's what it is. Napoleon passes inside the Great Pyramid. It was a secret that he took to the grave. There's been a lot of speculation since about Napoleon's strange encounter in Egypt. According to an unconfirmed source, this king saw some scenes about his fate in the king's chamber. The interesting thing is that Napoleon Bonaparte, not the only one. There are mysterious experiences inside the pyramid. Later in 1931, the British journalist Paul Branton. I spent a night in the king's room. Just like Napoleon in the past, he described his experience in the book, famous for the title, A Secret Search in Egypt. The king's room is made entirely of granite. That night you sit on a stone and light a small candle. The night is falling with a thick black curtain. Only the flickering light from the candle, the same stillness that enveloped the space. Now he could see the ghosts wandering. The ladder around me, although very scared, but I'm determined to stay there until the end. These ghosts are quickly disappearing, but what happened next was far more terrifying. He gradually felt his body paralyzed. I can't move. At that time, some people were wearing ceremonial clothes. It looks like the priests are starting to show up. These ghosts lead. He went to a secret room inside the pyramid. They call this the learning hall. There he felt the soul slowly leaving his body and into a space beyond death. What he described as an astral experience. He said he could see a silver string connecting his lifeless body with his soul floating in the pyramid. My body is lying motionless on the floor. The ancient guides tell me all about the Great Pyramid. That it was built in the 4th dynasty, from 2580 to 2560 BC. The existence of the Atlanteans. Perhaps a brilliant civilization in legend. It really exists. But the disaster came. A great flood has sunk these 6 places to the bottom of the sea, thousands of years ago, as the Bible describes it. In addition, he was taken on a tour and hear about all the hidden secrets in the rooms inside the pyramid. Through all those surprises, come back to life the next morning. What happened at night was so real. He believed that the priests he encountered actually living inside the pyramid. However, experts say that these people don't exist in bones, in the form of souls. They came to tell people that there exists a life after death. If this theory is correct, it will prove that the soul is real. When we die, our flesh will rot, but the soul lives forever. But let the soul be whole. Your body must also be well protected. Maybe that's why the ancient Egyptians, they put the tombs of the pharaohs in the pyramid. Keep one, where it was discovered that there are ideal conditions for preservation. And then the scientists did the research about where this room lies. It's a granite called Soul Stone. That's where Napoleon and Paul sat. They've just discovered that there's an electric field. May cause mild shock. In addition to a former NASA consultant, Richard Hawkins, has discovered the radiation in a room behind the king's room. This could provide a possible explanation for the strange phenomena that have happened here. Not only that, determining the age of the type. This radioactive sand shows the upper part of the pyramid is 1,000 years older than the lower part. There's been a lot of speculation and controversy. Some people surmise that the upper part of the pyramid was built before. It was originally built in an inverted position. Then, thanks to some advanced technology, the pyramid was placed in its current position. In fact, that's why these things happen inside. The pyramid has not been clearly explained. All the answers are still guesses. The secrets of the pyramids of Egypt are a big question for the whole world. And then there's the Scottish journalist Lewis Banks. He's also a scholar of the occult sciences, with works on Atlantis. Worlds are disappearing, ancient mysteries and ancient methods of education. He discovered the Great Pyramid of Ra. It is also a place of prophecy and prophecy. Lewis wrote that, according to scientists who found evidence for the prophecies, that all the major events in human history has been hidden in graphs and figures. It's made up of numbers. As the size of the edges choose 6, structures such as borders, diagonal lines inside the pyramid. Some experts have also studied the projects, language in which David Davidson is a structural and construction engineer. He spent 25 years studying the pyramid, this great and mysterious house. The results of Davidson's research and investigation, the Great Pyramid, the Divine Message, in which Mr. Min plotted his results through 80 pages of diagrams and 97 tables on the fields of archaeology, history, and sound maps of astronomy, to prove the bodies of the pyramid prophecies that he discovered. Another scientist has also claimed that he found the evidence for the predictions. It's in the Great Pyramid. John Greaves, professor of astronomy, University of Oxford, who studied the Great Pyramid 1600 BA7, Professor John and Colonel Ho-Wade Beast. He has spent his own fortune. I want to research this topic. In there, it's impossible not to mention the Egyptian ancient problem of polar change, that the camp causing pyramid is built to indicate Ra axis, or more precisely, the North Pole of the Earth. But through the ages, then this extreme point is not the same. The Arctic constellation Sau was defined in the turban of Draco. Currently, Polaris in the constellation of Sau Little Hung is the most and the future is Sau Vega. The prophet Edgar Cayce once said, when opening the pyramid door, it's going 2 points to the second largest star in the Arctic constellation. If you draw a line from the entrance to the pyramid on the day of the spring equinox, about 222 to 5 months BA, in the 4000 BC, 2000 AD, and 10,000 AD, it will point directly to the North Star. This is Taurus, Polaris, and Vega. The Arctic star is considered the center of where gravity. The soul flies away after the completion of their evolution in the solar system. Material. What do these calculations have to do with souls? It is believed to be living inside this Great Pyramid or not. Please share. Your views are at the bottom of the comments. We will continue to exchange together. And now, hello, and thank you for coming along.